I've been wanting to wild camp for a while. This is my first night, and I am with the legendary Warren Brand from Linley's 360. Now, there's a few steps that you can take to start wild camping, and we'll discuss those in a minute. The first and most useful step is to find a church. No, I'm kidding, I meant a pub. Right, but that's that bit done. Cheers. So we're going to be wild camping up on Table Mountain above Crickhowell. You've seen it on my previous videos. Now, before you do that, there's a few things that you've got to consider. First of all, the time of year. So I highly recommend your first wild camp is in the summer, as it is now, you probably wouldn't guess. Second thing is it's useful to bring along someone that knows what they're doing, which obviously I've done with Warren. And thirdly, there's another step that I highly recommend, is to go somewhere familiar, which again is what we're doing. But what you might find useful before that is to do semi-wild camping, which I've done a couple of times in the Carmarthen Fans. So before we set off here now, have a look at this little bit of footage that I took there. I started my wild camping journey here in the beautiful Carmarthen Fans, which form the western part of the Brecon Beacons. I wanted to try semi-wild camping. I don't think I was ready to begin with for full wild, so after climbing these hills we went down to Wildman Woods campsite and set up our tents by this beautiful stream. I set up a tarp as a kitchen and we were allowed to have a fire. It cost £35 including firewood for two of us to be there. I bought this tent second hand. It's a Jack Wolfskin Gossamer 2, great tent, £70, very cosy inside. Now when you pay your money, this is what you get. You get two very clean toilets and a shower, and that is about it. You can camp anywhere in the woods or in the fields. It's a great introduction to wild camping without all the problems, but it now set me up for what I'm about to do. Starting to get something of a view. View from the tents is going to be quite wonderful, I think. Makes all of this really worthwhile. Very peaceful. We're nearly at the camping area, which is just up there on Table Mountain. A bit of a steep climb up. Doesn't really come across on the camera, but I think I can get myself and this heavy rucksack up there. It should be fine. Okay, so we got to the top okay, believe it or not, and we now have the tents set up. Would you check out the view? You see Sugarloaf Mountain there. And then around this way, Crickhowell, and in the distance you've got the Pennyvan range of mountains. Over there we have the one and only Sir Warren Brand from Linley's 360. Check his channel out. And a little bit of tent envy here, got to say. He's got the mighty Hilleberg, the Hilleberg actor there. Swing around here though, I'm not really compromising. So since the last bit of video you saw, I've made a purchase myself, and this is the Fjallraven Abisko Lite 1. And as you can see, I'm perched right on the edge of a precipice. Having a quick look in the tent, I got all the basics. We have light food, so we obviously can't carry too much, so everything's weight sensitive. So we've got a dehydrated meal, it tastes better than it sounds, and I got some chocolate porridge for the morning, as well as a couple of beers. But this is what it's all about, and I'm feeling fairly confident tonight. Looking forward to a good night's sleep, and hopefully opening the tent door to this absolutely wonderful view. Great point just made by Warren, is that layer up before you need to. So I'm now wearing a base layer, a fleece, t-shirt, I've got something else on as well, and I'm going to be putting a sort of a neck warmer on as well, and I've got my coat on top of that. So always layer up before you actually need to. Okay, water is on the boil, ready for my summit to eat meal. Now these do kind of save weight, but you just got to bear in mind that you need quite a lot of water to make them as well, and water's heavy, so you can't win really. However, the summit meals for me are the nicest, so yes. And of course there's no washing up. Warren has very kindly lent me that, let me just get my gardening tools out of the way, goodness me. We'll talk about that later. Warren's lent me this little pouch to help sort of keep it warm as well. So yeah, I think one of the key tips I'd say is that come out with somebody that you know and trust, and somewhere that you know well as well. So let's go over to Warren's camp and see what the master is doing. This looks far more sophisticated.
Just being a bit creative.
Far more sophisticated than my little setup. But yeah, wow, that looks good. Is it that time, Warren?
Corned beef hash.
Is it time?
Yes,
it is, isn't it?
It
yes.
is.
So, ready? On three.
Yeah.
3, 2, 1. And
yeah.
Cheers, sir.
Cheers.
Cheers. Hobgoblin and speckled head.
Nice.
So, I'd like to take this time just to look around the view while drinking beer. So this is the famous Warren's custard, and that's actually the brand made famous by Warren brand. Good morning. It's just about 7 AM. I had a mixed night's sleep. I pitched the tent on some bump or something, but hey, that's all a learning process for the future. Yeah, I think Warren is either in his tent or at the mountain, not quite sure which. He gave me a very good tip, and that is that when you get up, from the moment you get up, just pack something every minute or two, so that by the time you've had breakfast, all you've got left is the tent and the stove, which I think is a very good tip. So yeah, anyway, from the Brecon Beacons, from my very first wild camp, now tick that one off the list. Have a very good day. And of course, hashtag leave no trace. Mr. Brand, thank you very much, sir.
Yes, yeah,
thank you very much.
Super trip. Yeah.
Super trip. And yeah, first of many, hopefully.